The auto trace or trace image option in Sure Cuts a Lot allows you to take almost any type of graphics file and convert it so that you can cut it. Now, before we go in and start tracing an image, the first thing I want you to do is click on Edit and go to Preferences. And under the General section here, we want to make sure that Disable QuickTime for importing images is not checked. I'm going to click OK. By making sure that QuickTime is not disabled, we've basically expanded the number of files that Sure Cuts a Lot can convert. Let's go ahead and convert a file. You can do that in one of two ways. You can click on File, Trace Image, or you can just use this shortcut here, the Trace Image icon. I'm going to go ahead and click, and doing so brings up the Auto Trace Image dialog box. Okay, this screen is where you're going to be tracing the images. And the first thing we need to do is we need to specify the image that we want to trace, otherwise known as the input. We're going to click Browse, and I've already downloaded a couple files, okay, so I'm going to use these as an example. The first one I'm going to use is this baseball file. I'm going to go ahead and either highlight and hit Open, or you can just double click. Alright, so you'll see a preview of the file that I just imported, okay, and then down here in this settings section, you've got different settings. Okay, the brightness setting basically adjusts the brightness of the image above to help the auto tracer distinguish what should be traced. Now, because this is a black and white image, we don't really need to adjust the brightness too much. We want to make sure that it's just kind of in the middle. You'll notice that if I take this value and set it to the maximum, which is 100, and I hit Preview, all we get is a box over here on the right-hand side. Because basically what I've done is I've taken the brightness and maxed it out all the way as bright as possible, and doing that gives me just a white box, okay? So now the next setting that you'll see here is the corner setting, okay? And the corner setting basically determines how the auto trace feature handles the corners that it finds. Okay, right now it's set at 90, and if I hit Preview, you'll see that it looks pretty good. Now let me just show you what it would look like if I set it to 10. Okay, so I'm going to set it to 10, I'm going to hit Preview, and take a look at these lines. They're very jagged and really rough. And if we change it back to 90 and hit Preview, watch as I hit Preview, the image is a lot cleaner, a lot nicer, and it's just going to look better overall. Next is Despeckle, which I'll show you when I import the next image, but I want to show you this Optimize section here. So with Optimize checked, I'm going to show you what it looks like when I have it at a value 1. And I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to place it on my mat. Okay, I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to grab this Shape tool or Node tool, and I'm going to click on it. Now these little squares here, these are all the nodes. Basically, if you look at all these SVGs as almost like a connect the dot type of thing, these are all the dots that create the shape that we're cutting out. Okay, so now this was at an optimized level 1 or setting 1. Now watch what happens if I go back and I click Trace Image, Browse, and I import the baseball. Okay, there's Optimize. I'm going to set Optimize to 100. Click Preview, and then I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so here's my new, let me move this one out of the way. This is the old one. This is the new one. I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my node tool here, or the shape tool, and now watch, if I click on it, all right, take a look, let's focus on just this area here. Now let's click here. You see how many extra points there are here? Now this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be. If you're dealing with a file that has thousands and thousands of nodes, it can really slow down the cutting, and it's actually not recommended. The more nodes that your image has, the longer it's going to take to cut, okay? And the more wear and tear you're going to have on your machine. So a rule of thumb is the less nodes, the better, okay? So take a look at this. The images look identical, except that this one has far less nodes. It's going to cut a lot faster, it's going to cut a lot cleaner, and you're not going to put as much wear and tear on your machine. All right, so I'm going to grab my selection tool, and I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go ahead and import a different file now. I'm going to go to Trace Image, I'm going to click Browse, and I'm going to click on Hearts. Now this image, it's a little bit crazier, it's got a lot more going on, it's not black and white, but I want to bring this image in to illustrate the despeckle option, okay? And I'm going to click preview, and now take a look here. Like I said, this is not a very clean image. It's not my favorite image, but I want to show you here that this despeckle option, if I set it to 1 and hit preview, all right, now you see all this stuff that's around these hearts. This is not the type of stuff that you want to trace. This is not going to be a very good cut. It's just going to wear out your machine, wear out your blades, and it's really a waste of time. But I'm just going to show you here, if we import this and take a look at it on the mat, I'm going to go to Object and ungroup it and grab this tool here. You can see how many nodes there are here, okay? Now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to go back in, trace it again. What I want to show you is the despeckle option. And if I set this to 99 and hit preview, you'll notice that it eliminates a lot of these tiny little stray areas that you probably don't want. Now if we set it back to 1, take a look at the live preview here. I'm going to hit preview. Okay, you can see how there's all that extra noise up there. So basically the despeckle option is used to remove tiny shapes to help clean up your source image. Alright, for this last example, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my Layers panel, and I'm going to do that by clicking Window and Layers. I'm going to click on the Trace Image option, or you can go to File, Trace Image. Okay, I'm going to click Browse, and I'm going to bring in my People file. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this button that says Break Apart Outlines. And what this option does is it basically takes any closed paths and puts them on separate layers. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to click Preview, and I'm going to click OK. Alright, now take a look in my Layers panel here. You'll notice that we've got a separate layer here called people.jpg. This is the file that I traced. And if I hit this little arrow here, you'll see all the sub-layers associated with that, okay? And I'll take a look here. It looks like it broke it down into 7 different layers. And you'll notice I can go ahead and turn these off. And you can see what I mean by a closed path. A closed path is basically, a line that starts and ends at the same point. So for example, this closed path here, okay, it starts here and it ends here, okay? So these are all closed paths and they're all on individual layers, okay? And that just kind of helps you break stuff up. So let's say, for example, you've got an image that you're tracing that has 4 separate elements and you're tracing them all at the same time, but you want to be able to manipulate them manually. Well, you can do that ahead of time by clicking on that Break Apart Outlines option. Okay, finally, I want to show you how to take the image and actually save it as an SVG file. Okay, so we're going to open up the Trace Image option, and I'm going to click Browse. I'm going to bring in my baseball player. Okay, and down here there's a Save option. So let's click Preview. Let's make sure it looks okay. It looks fine. Clicking Save brings up a dialog box where you can specify the name of the file as well as the location that you want to save it to. So I'm going to call this guy just baseball player, and file type is going to be SVG. That's the only option we have, and I'm going to click Save. I'm saving them to my desktop, but you can save them into your SVG folder or any folder that you want to save them to. I'm going to click Save, and that's it. I'm going to hit Cancel, and now notice I can click on Import SVG and browse to my desktop. Here's the file that I just converted, baseballplayer.svg, and I can hit Open, and there he is. So basically what this does is it allows you to save non-SVG images into SVG images so that you can put them in your SVG folder and not have to worry about tracing them again. They're ready to go the next time you want to use them.